Good. So go ahead and come to lying on the floor. This class is built with the idea that there are a lot of elements of yoga that contribute to our emotional well-being, which we all feel that when we take a yoga class. But this is going to especially cater to the things that help to shift, to reset the nervous system. And so as we go through, you'll notice that we pay a lot of attention to breath. We do a lot of work with neck, shoulders, psoas, different areas, heart openers and forward folds. These are different areas where the body tends to hold tension and where we can shift the nervous system substantially. We'll be using sound, weight, pressure, and we're always going to be bringing mindfulness practices in. All right. So to start today, like I said, let's begin by laying flat on your back on the floor. And you want plenty of space to be able to bring your arms to a T position. So if you're near a wall like me, you want to shuffle out a little bit. And as you settle in, just allowing the support of the floor. So a lot of times we actually carry so much tension that we're actually kind of holding ourselves up as though the floor will not support us. And so I want you to feel as though you're just melting into the earth right now. With each exhale, just feel a little bit more gravity taking a hold of your body. Allowing yourself to breathe in and out. And then with the next inhale, you're going to stretch your arms up overhead. And then with the exhale, draw the right knee into the chest. Wrap your hands around the shin and hug that knee in, breathing deeply. And then with the next inhale, stretch the arms overhead, extend the leg out long. And exhale and draw the left leg in. Hugging it in, flex the feet, toes pointing towards the ceiling. And as you breathe, start to bring awareness. Notice where you're feeling sensation the strongest. And see if you can notice how the sensation changes as the breath moves in and out. And then inhale and stretch the body out long, releasing that leg. Let's hug the right knee in once again, but this time we're going to place the right foot on top of the left knee. Bring the arms out to T position. And then exhale as you lower that right knee across the body, coming into a spinal twist. You can bring that twist all the way up the body by turning to look towards the opposite hand. Keep breathing deeply, feeling the breath go all the way up and down the length of the spine. And notice what you can be aware of now. Sensation with your breath. Notice where the thoughts go. And then with the next inhale, draw that knee back up to your center and then open it out to the side, allowing that knee to lower to the side like you're in a lying down tree pose. Good, and then draw that knee back up. Extend the leg out long. And we'll go the other side. So inhale, stretch the full body, fingers to toes. Exhale, draw the left knee in. And then bring that foot to the top of the opposite knee. Lower the left leg across the body. And once again, bring the stretch all the way up to the neck by turning to look at the hand behind you. Deep breathing. One more big breath there. And then inhale the knee up through center and lower it down to the floor on the other side. Take a couple breaths there. Just allowing that hip to settle open. And then draw it back up to center. Let's step the other foot in. So both knees are pointing up to the ceiling now. And we're going to lower the legs to the right and allow the knees to separate. So you're kind of have scissor legs going there. All right. So the feet stay where they are, the knees lower to the side. And then with the inhale, we're going to come up through center. Exhale, lower them to the other side. And let's just flow with the breath. Inhale up. Exhale over. Inhale up. Exhale over. Good. Inhale up one more time. Lower the legs to the other side. And now you're going to take the top leg and that foot over to the side. So you're straightening the leg and just reach. Take 3 deep breaths there. Just go as far as is comfortable for your body. And then bend that leg once again. Inhale the legs up to center. Pause for a moment. That was a deeper stretch. Let the body adjust. Notice the breath. Notice the sensation settling in the backside. And then inhale. With the next exhale, lower the knees the other direction. And then once again, play with extending that leg out. Where does it want to go? What feels good for your body? So you can play with various locations. When you find that sweet spot, take 3 deep breaths. And then draw that knee back, bend the leg, inhale up to center. All right, very good. One more set of twists here, all right? So this time we're going to reach the arms straight up to the ceiling. And then I'm gonna have you create little I Dream of Jeannie arms. So just grabbing opposite elbows. And with the exhale, you're gonna lower your elbows to the right and your knees to the left. And then up to center. And then elbows to the left, knees to the right. Flow with your breath again, go side to side. One more time, one more complete set. And then when you come back to center, frame the face with your arms. So lower the arms to the floor where it frames your head. And then open the knees out to the side as well. So soles of the feet come together, knees open up. Press the feet actively together. 3 deep breaths. Very good. And then draw those knees back up to center. Let's roll to one side. And then use the strength of your arms to press up to seated. All right. So we're going to bring a little bit more breathing with movement in. So this next breath is a 5-2-7 breath. This is a great breath for resetting the nervous system. It's a 5 count for the inhale, a hold for 2, and an exhale for 7. But we're going to match it with some arm movement. All right. So I want you to inhale the arms up for a count of 5. And then we will clasp the hands together, turn the palms skyward for the pause of 2. And then we're going to exhale slowly to a count of 7 as we lower the arms down. All right. So I will set an initial pace with the counting just so you can get used to the breath. But after I get going, you can adjust how quickly you're counting to work for your body. All right. So you can do this with eyes closed, or if it helps to watch me at first, you can do it with them open. So take a big breath in, exhale completely. And then we'll begin. Inhale, raising the arms, 2, 3, 4, 5. Clasp the hands, turn them up, 2, and then exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stretch it up, 2, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good. Count inside, 5 in. Hold, 2. Out, 7. In, 5. Hold, 2. Out, 7. Good. Let's do one more with the arms. Then bring your hands to resting on your knees, palms down if you want to ground a little more, palms up if you're feeling open. And let's continue the breath without the arms. Inhale, 5. Hold, 2. Out, 7. And when you finish that breath, returning to a regular breathing pattern, just notice what's happening now. Notice if anything's changed. How does it feel? And what are you noticing in your body that tells you it feels that way? Very good. Let's come on up to our hands and knees. And we're going to make it a journey up to standing. So just slowly coming on up. You can stretch the tail upward. Allow yourself to hang like a rag doll for a moment, swinging side to side. And then gradually rolling the spine upward. Good. Let's do a couple shoulder rolls there when we reach the top. Those directions. Very good. All right, so let's step the feet about the narrow edge of the mat apart. All right, we're going to angle the feet outward and we're going to lower into a squat. Looks like it's going to be a little bit wider than the mat there to get a good squat because we want to make sure that the knees are directly above the ankles with that position. Good. All right, so this is called a goddess pose. As with anything, you can come in and out as you need to. But what we're going to do is we're going to play with the 6 movements of the spine here. So I want you to round forward and then open the heart and look upward. And then round. Inhale, open. One more. And open. Good. And then we're going to lower one shoulder to the middle, coming into a twist. Inhale up. Other shoulder. Inhale up. Good. Let's do that a few more times. Balance both sides. Good, and then coming back to center, press those feet strongly into the floor as you come on up to standing. Good, toes point forward, stretch up and overhead, and then fold forward, reaching for the floor or a block if you have one. Allow the head to hang heavy. Notice what's happening now. And this can be anything. It can be thoughts or sensations, memories. Just watching it flow by. And then once again, rolling up to standing. You can use your hands on your legs to help you up if you need. Beautiful. All right, let's step the feet together. Good. So we're going to come up to the top of your mat. Bring your hands together at heart center. Inhale, dip the hands down in front and then open them up and overhead. Turn your gaze up towards the fingertips. And then with the exhale, we're going to arc to one side of the body, to the right if possible. Breathe deeply. In case you wonder why we go to the right, we're actually working with the digestive system here. Take 2 more deep breaths there. And then inhale on up. Exhale over to the left. So that first stretch constricted the ascending colon, and this one works with the descending colon. This is also stimulating the adrenal glands. Kind of feels like you're getting a workout now, right? Inhale back up to center. Stretch, exhale, and release. Do you feel your body warm up a little bit? That's the adrenals. Good. All right. Inhale, sweep those arms up once again. Exhale, this time fold forward, hinging at the hips. So right here, reaching for the floor. Bend your knees enough that you can place your hands solidly on the ground. Head heavy. Great. Breathing deeply. All right, then we're going to bring those hands to the outside edges of the feet, fingertips and toes line up, and we're going to step the right foot back behind us. Lower the knee down to the ground. keep the toes of the back foot turned under for this first stretch. Okay. And it looks like you can reach the ground easily. If you can't, for some reason, you can use blocks or pillows to give you a little bit of height. Gaze is straight ahead. Good. Then you can bring your hands to the top of that front knee. Lift the body. And if you're feeling good there, you can even bring those hands, clasp them right behind the back of the neck, press the head back into the hands, elbows open towards opposite walls. Beautiful. And then extend those arms back, up and over into the floor in front of you. Good. Let's step the left foot back to the right. Stretch the hips back to the heels. So right here in this child's pose, we're going to reach through the fingertips. And then you can walk your hands off to the right side of the mat. Getting a side stretch through the left side of the body. Once again, watch the sensation. Where do you feel this most? See if you can squeeze that muscle where you feel it, and then soften. And with your next inhale, come back through center, pause. And then we're going to walk the hands off to the left side of the mat. So we're reaching through the right hand and back through the right hip. Long, full arc of energy. Breathing, breathing. And then walk the hands back to center. Good. All right. Then we're going to come up to the hands and knees. And then slowly lower our way down to the floor. You can lower your hips first. Coming onto your belly. So for this first back bend today, we're going to actually bring the elbows directly beneath the shoulders. So we're coming into Sphinx pose. All right. Toes are pointing back behind you, tops of the feet pressing into the floor. And then with your arms, you're going to be dragging them towards you so that the heart opens more actively to the front of the mat. And you can look around, play with gaze a little. And then lower yourself back down to the floor. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders. Hips go back to the heels once again. And then we're going to turn the toes under. And if it feels good to you today, lifting into downward facing dog. So hips lift high, heels sink to the floor. Heart melts between the shoulders and breathe. We're going to play with 5 deep breaths there. You can work on walking the heels one at a time towards the floor. If it gets to be too much, just drop back into child's pose. Getting the heart rate up helps with shifting heart rate variability, which changes the nervous system pliability, responsiveness. And we'll walk the feet to the front of the mat, coming back into our forward fold. And then slowly roll the spine up. Open the arms up and overhead. And exhale and release. Let's pause there. Eyes closed. Feel the heart beating beneath the thumbs on the sternum. Feel the body alive. Good. Take another big breath there. All right, we're going to step the feet a little wider than the mat once again. And we're going to get the heartbeat going a little more strongly with the wood chopper pose. So wood chopper, we actually pretend that we're grabbing an axe with our hands. You're going to clasp the hands together. If you know you have problems with blood pressure, with coming up and down quickly, you may want to adjust this pose a little bit. So I'm going to demonstrate it briefly, and then I'll show you a variation if it's too much, okay? So hands clasped, we're going to inhale the arms up and overhead, and then you swing that axe through between the legs with a big ha sound, like you're really mighty trying to chop wood, okay? So it looks like this. Ha! 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 All right. So if that is too much, you can just do a variation like this. You can actually pull the arms in. Ha! 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 All right. So let's choose our version. I'm going to go ahead and do full wood chopper so you can see that again. Inhale up. And we're going to do 10. Ha! 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 Deep guttural. Ha! Ha! Last one. And then release the arms. Take a moment to bring the breath back to steadiness. When you're comfortable, you can close the eyes once again. Breathing deeply. See if you can lengthen the exhale. It's a great breath for releasing a lot of energy. And once again, working with that heart rate so that we can start shifting the nervous system. Take one more big breath there. And then inhale, sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway up, gaze straight ahead. You can bring your hands to your shins to create that nice tabletop back. Exhale and fold once again. We're going to step the right foot back into a lunge. Go ahead and lower the knee to the floor. All right, so this one we're going to get a little bit more tricky in here. We're going to bring those hands to the inside edge of the foot in front. And then we're going to open onto the outer edge of that foot, bringing the knee out to the side. If you have knee problems, don't go very far into that. In fact, you can actually just play with bringing a hand to the outer edge of the knee and pushing into the hand. But if the knee is okay, just opening out as far as comfortable for your body. And breathe. Starting to work into hips and psoas today. Another couple of areas where our body likes to store tension. Good. All right. And then push that foot into the floor and even pull it towards you for a moment. 3, 2, 1. Good. And then bring that knee back up to center. And we're going to bring the hips back towards the back heel as we straighten the front leg. And again, you don't have to go terribly far with that. You know, if you want to stay up high or if you want to lower down more and fold forward over it, you can do that as well. Breathing deeply. Looking good. And then shift the weight forward once again. Let's step that leg back. Come back to child. This time, let's open the knees, mat width apart. Settle the hips back and the body settles between the knees. Turn the gaze towards the area between the eyebrows. Notice what changes as you change the direction of the inner gaze. Turn the gaze towards the heart now. And then back towards that area between the eyebrows. Use your hands to roll up to seated. Bring the knees back together. Sitting back on the heels. So you can have the toes pointing straight back if that's comfortable. Or you can turn the toes under and sit back on the heels. Good. And then as you come up to your hands and knees, let's step the right leg forward into our lunge. Good. Okay, so the toes are pointing back on the back leg. Your knees directly above your ankle. I'm going to bring both hands to the inner edge of that foot and once again open it or press into the hands as though you're opening outward. Breathe deeply. Keep your spine tall. This is one of those places where blocks can be handy. If this is challenging, it looks like you're doing fine though. It can be really helpful to close the eyes to become more present to sensation in the body. Notice where you're holding, where you're bracing against the experience, and see if you can soften into that space a little more. And that could be tricky because it wants to bind up. So just play with maybe tightening and softening a few times, alternating. And then bring that leg back up. Pause for a moment. And then hips back towards that back heel. Front leg straightening. Again, you can stay nice and high, or you can start settling and folding forward. Breathe deeply. And then shift the body weight forward once again. Step that right foot back towards a child's pose. Spread the legs once again as you settle in. This time with your child, I want you to bring the hands into a prayer position and actually raise them towards the ceiling. So it's just the elbows resting on the ground, fingertips pointing to the ceiling. Lower those hands back to the floor. Lift the hips away from the heels as you come up to hands and knees. Step the legs together. You got it. Good. Now we're going to I'm going to turn sideways here. You're actually going to reach the hands out in front of you and then shift the hips back as you melt the heart down. Puppy stretch. Breathing deeply. Notice what's happening now. Notice where you can soften a little more into the experience, where you don't have to protect, where you can just allow. And walk the hands back in. Good. Slowly lower yourself down to your belly once again. And bring one cheek to the floor. Just allow yourself to rest with the arms alongside you. Surrendering to gravity. And bring the chin back to center, chin or forehead, whichever works for your body. Let's stretch the arms out in front of you in a Superman kind of pose. And then with the inhale, I'm going to have you stretch, reach for your with your right toes towards the wall behind you. That's going to cause the leg to lift slightly as you stretch and reach. And then lower that leg down. It'll feel a couple inches longer than the other side. Let's go to the other side. Inhale, reach, reach, reach for that back wall with the other leg. Breathe deeply. And then lower that leg down. Very good. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to walk those elbows underneath the shoulders once again. That Sphinx position. This time we're going to cross the left hand behind the right elbow. All right. And then you're going to bend the right leg and just see if you can reach for it. It may not quite get there, or it may easily reach. If you can reach for the ankle. If you can reach the ankle, try the inside of the ankle so that the shoulder opens as well. And then see if you can square the shoulders forward. And just because I can't see bodies, this may be plenty, but if you need a little bit more stretch, you can even start working that heel towards the glutes. So I'm actually bringing the elbow up toward the ceiling as I bring that foot towards the glute. Very good. And then relax back down. Allow your forehead to rest on the backs of your hands. And take a few breaths to release. All right, and then we'll reach those arms out in front and then slide the elbows beneath the shoulders once again. This time we're placing the right hand behind the left elbow. And then we're reaching for the left foot with the left hand. So once again, if you can actually reach, you can bring that hand to the inside edge of the foot, or even pivot the heel of the hand towards the toes so that the elbows are pointing to the ceiling. Just the effort of reaching there, even if you can't reach anything, is plenty. Allow yourself to be exactly where you are. And release. Let's bring those hands underneath the shoulders, hips back to the heels once again, rounding the body forward. And this time, let's actually drape the arms around the body. Allow yourself to settle. Now, if the hips do not settle towards the heels well, and you find there's some weight on your neck because your body's tipping forward, just bring a pillow under the upper body. That way there's not as much weight on the neck. And breathe. Notice what's happening now. Notice what's the same, what's changed since the beginning of our class. Notice any parts of the body that want more attention. And roll yourself up to seated. Good. All right. So let's come to seated on your bottom. I'm going to grab a blanket just to demonstrate this. All right, so we're going to do what's called cobbler's pose or bound angle. All right, so with the blanket, you can actually put a little bit of height beneath your hips. I've actually got my sits bones, those bony protuberances out of the bottom of your body, right at the front edge of the blanket. So the hips kind of spill forward a little bit. I'm going to go sideways with this so you can see what I'm talking about a little more. So I'm not way back here on the blanket. I'm actually coming forward to the very front edge. All right. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. All right, and open the knees out to the sides. And so for this first version of cobbler's pose, I actually want you to start right here at your quote max stretch, which is where we usually start. Then we're going to move out about 6 inches. So about a foot length. We're going to lift tall through the spine and then extend forward as far as we can go with a long straight spine. And remember that your head, your neck is part of the spine, so we're not looking like this or like this. We're trying to keep this length through the full back of the body. You can allow your elbows to rest on the tops of the thighs to help encourage them open. Take 3 deep breaths there. Good, and then inhale up. Let's bring those heels in a little closer now where you were to begin with. And for this stretch, I want you to bring the full foot together. All right, so all 4 corners of the feet pressing into each other. Press the feet together as you push the knees down. Grab the ankles, lift the spine tall. Good, and then soften. Now let's open the feet up like a book. All right, so you can see the soles of the feet this time. You can even thread your fingers between your toes, almost like you're holding hands with your toes. That can give it a little extra stretch. Inhale, lift up, and then fold over once again, the nice long spine. See if you can soften into this. Only going to your edge, your place where you can feel the stretch, but it's tolerable. It's at a point where you can relax into it some. And then inhale back up. Let's draw the knees together. Good. Extend the legs out long. And we're just going to shake the legs out a little bit. All right. You can remove your blanket, set it off to the side. We're going to come into bridge pose. So I'm going to stay sideways on my mat again, just so you can see. I'm going to lower the body down to the floor. Knees are pointing to the ceiling. Take a couple solid breaths there. Your ankles should be directly beneath your knees for this pose. And then we're going to take a moment to lift the hips by pressing the feet into the ground. So it's not just lift, it's press. And from that press comes the lift. I want you to just form a straight line, knees to hips to shoulders right now. And then we're going to take a moment right there to walk the shoulder blades under the body. So the heart opens a little bit more actively as we get those shoulder blades flat on the floor. And then you can even clasp the hands behind the back to encourage that heart open. Keep the straight line for now and take 3 deep breaths there. And at the end of the 3rd breath, you can press the legs more strongly, the feet more strongly into the floor and lift the hips. 3, 2, 1, and then release on down. First, allow the body to settle. And then bring the knees into the chest. Just rock gently from side to side, helping the lower back to release. If you want, you can even play with happy baby pose here. All that is soles of the feet pointing to the ceiling, grab the outside edges of the feet, and then go knee to the floor, side to side. You can even bring a little smile to your face. That Mona Lisa smile starts to release endorphins. Good. And then coming back to center. And then roll to one side. Use the strength of the arms to bring you up to seated. All right, ladies. So for our last pose today, we're going to do a version of legs up the wall. Okay. So if you have a wall available, you can do that. Otherwise, I'm going to show you another variation, okay? So if you're doing it with a wall, you might want to have a blanket. And I'm folding it in thirds, so you can see it's about the length of my forearm there. I'm leaving about a few inches between the blanket and the wall, okay? This is, the formal name for it is Viparita Karani. It's really good for the nervous system. It's good for the heart. It's good for the skin and the circulatory system, all right? Now, if you have unmedicated high blood pressure, this is a type of inversion that you can do safely, whereas you would want to hold back on other types, all right? So blanket there. If you don't have a wall, the other option is actually to grab a couch or a couple chairs. So I'll just show you what I'm talking about. I would actually have 2 chairs of this type, and I would have my legs just resting on the 2 chairs like such to help to open the psoas a little bit and bring some of that benefit of the inversion to the practice, okay? All right, so I'm gonna go up the wall. I'll show you how to get up there. This could be done with or without the blanket, but with the blanket, what you're gonna do is you're gonna sit sideways to the wall, and then you're going to just do a little flip and then shuffle the blanket underneath you. Now, me saying just a little flip can make it sound a lot easier than it is sometimes, so take your time with this. But it's truly just, you can even set the blanket off to the side. Sideways to the wall, flip yourself up, shuffle your butt in close, and then bring that blanket in underneath the hips by pressing the heels into the floor and lifting the hips. All right. So the blanket, the height of the blanket, what it's doing is it's allowing this wonderful inversion, which brings some ease to the heart. Normally the heart Works very hard to do that loop to the feet and back. It's a shorter loop to the head because the head is a priority, right? So we're flipping that, making everything a little easier on the heart. And then we have this slight little cascade from the hips to the heart to just slow that transition. Shoulders are flat on the floor. And you can do feet straight up the wall. If that is too much, if your hamstrings are tight, you can bump out from the wall a little or even bend those legs some. Go ahead, once you got those shoulder blades flat on the floor, close your eyes. And you can play with variations of the feet up the wall. They can be straight up the wall, or you can do a nice wide V, like I'm demonstrating, to your comfort level. Or you can do that cobbler version with the feet together and the knees opening. Find where you want to settle for the next few minutes. And once you get comfortable, closing the eyes, and tuning in first to sensation, making any little adjustments you need to go the distance with this pose. So we'll be here a few minutes. And then bringing the awareness to the breath, watching it flow in and out. Notice what it is about your breath that catches your attention. Maybe you notice the feel of it going past the tip of the nose. Maybe you feel the texture of it moving through the throat. Maybe it's the sound it makes, or the sense of satisfaction that comes with a good, complete inhale. Whatever it is that draws your attention, center yourself there now, just watching that part of the breath. If the mind wanders, gently bring it back to the breath. Notice what's happening now. Be curious. Start to deepen the breath. Draw the legs back to straight up the wall. And then bend the knees so that they come in towards the chest. Place the feet flat on the wall. Use the soles of the feet to help you lift the hips and remove any height from beneath the hips. Lower the leg back down to the floor. And then you can roll to your right side. Rest your head on the right arm. Take a moment there. Body needs to adjust. And then roll back up to seated. If you want a little bit of height underneath you for this last part, you can fold your blanket. Come to the front edge of it again. Take a moment to settle in, palms down on the legs. We're gonna close with a short breathing practice. I'm gonna start with the sipping breath. So this is 3 short inhales. So it's gonna be inhale, inhale, inhale. So you're filling lower, middle, and upper lungs. And then a complete exhale. All right. So let's try that. Exhale completely first. And then inhale, 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 exhale, and release. Inhale, 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 exhale. Repeat that. Inhale, 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 release. Let's do 5 more rounds. And returning to your normal breath. And I like to end my classes with the sound of Om. They've actually scientifically shown that the sound Om is actually the most calming part of a yoga class due to the combination of sound and humming and breath. And so you are welcome to join me in that, or if you'd like to just listen and receive the sound, you can do that as well. Or you can just hum if you're uncomfortable with the sound of Om, all right? So doing whatever's comfortable for you. Take a big breath in. And the sound of Om is practiced in 3 parts. It's a O, okay? And some people do it okay? So exhale again. Inhale deeply. Ah. Do it 2 more times. Inhale. Ah. Returning once again to a normal breath. And thank you, ladies, for joining me today.